The college football show on the Coach T podcast, presented by Turner Sports Training, TST.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey. You know what time it is? Yeah. You know what time it is? Some people are probably like, what time is it? You know what time it is.
It's showtime.
Mook, what's going on?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. We are back. How are you doing?
Oh, man. Crazy, man. You know how it goes, man.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you. You know how it is.
Yeah, man. Hey, how's your boy doing with wrestling? He's like a super champ. I feel like he's winning all the time.
He's having a good year. He's we're going into the club season now, so he'll be a younger one going against. So he'll have some pretty big challenges coming up here, but he had a really good year for the middle school season. So, now we up the game and start seeing people fall over. So, you know, there's lots of lessons to learn.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
he gets a chance to see the kids that they devote their time, their off time, their non-school time to wrestling. Like
that's right. We're gonna we're gonna go seek out some good ones here. So
okay,
yeah.
You've been staying locked in with what's going on with this crazy college football season,
man. It's as much as I can every day. It's something new, you know.
Sure.
So I mean, but
Urban may be back.
Yeah. I was just like, some part of me feels like he was just like, you know what, man? I hear Ryan might be going to the Bears. Let's see here if I can just get canned and go right back home. But you know, to Ohio State, who knows? I wouldn't doubt it. But
you never can doubt it. You never can doubt it.
No.
So let's get right into it, fans. You are now listening to the Coach T College Football Show with Mook. We were off last week. Wasn't much football played. We had the historic matchup, Army Navy. Correct. That was a really good game. Yeah. Really good matchup. But now we are in full swing with the bowl season. We're just talking about a little bit of Urban Meyer and where he may or may not go, where he may end up. Speaking of the coaching carousel, that's really where I want to start, Mook. Just to read these off, and it's going to seem like a long list, but Brent Venables, he is now the new head coach at Oklahoma, taking over for Lincoln Riley. Kalen DeBauer, I never know how to say that. DeBauer.
Yeah, it's DeBauer. Yeah.
DeBauer, the former Fresno State coach who, we fell in love with early in the season. He's taking over for Jimmy Lake at Washington. Jeff Tedford, he's taken over at Fresno State for Coach DeBauer. Let me see. Mario Cristobal, he's taken over at Miami of Florida. Penn State's their former defensive coordinator, Brent Pry, he's taking over at Virginia Tech as their new head coach. Nevada's former head coach, Jay Norvell, he's taken over at Colorado State. You'll have Mike McIntyre, he's taken over at FIU. And then Jim Mora. And shouldn't that be Jim Mora Jr.?
Yeah.
It's Jim Mora Jr. I was going to say, I don't think it's the father. So Jim Mora Jr., he is taking over. Yes.
UConn? You're talking about UConn?
UConn? They play football at UConn? I thought it was only basketball.
They don't play playoffs there, though. So
they
playoffs there.
Yes. And Jim Mora Jr., as mentioned, he will be the new head coach at UConn. He is a former NFL and former, college coach. He's been around for a little while. Out of all those hires, and there actually have been a few others, but out of all those hires, which one are you most intrigued by moving forward?
Well, I think the best hire is the Lincoln Riley hire. The most intriguing one to me is I want to see what Brent Venables does at Oklahoma. What changes there? They're going to be going into the SEC, and in some ways, I kind of feel like they need a more defensive-oriented guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my eye on that one to see what happens. Now, he's losing a lot of recruits already. Oklahoma has gotten ransacked. A lot of them have gone, to out west, to SC. But that hire, because of the fact that Brent Venables has never really it seemed like he entertained any of the jobs that he was always rumored to be a part of. But to go to somewhere where he's, has some familiarity with in Oklahoma, where he's been before, that's going to be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, I agree. You made a wonderful point in the fact that Oklahoma will be going to the SEC here very soon, and them finding a defensive coordinator that, if you look over the last 5 to 10 years in college football, he has been the top defensive coordinator in all of football. Like he has been that guy. And he does have some Oklahoma ties. He coached there previously, as an assistant coach. I don't know if he played there or not, but he definitely coached there before. And, I think it's a really good hire for Oklahoma, especially with the bombshell of Lincoln Riley leaving. It's hard to replace a guy like him, and clearly that's going to affect the recruiting. But Oklahoma is still Oklahoma, and they'll still be able to bring some guys in. And the fact that they are going to the SEC, I think that empowers a lot of their recruiting fronts and their recruiting powers to sell that as, hey, we're going to be playing the best of the best very soon. So come join us. Come give a resurgence to Oklahoma football. We are still here. We're still Oklahoma. So I really do like that hire for Oklahoma with Brent Venables. The one I'm intrigued by is Mario Cristobal to Miami of Florida.
I was going to piggyback on you on that one. Yes.
Yeah. So we both agree on that one. And just like Venables, Cristobal, I don't know if he coached there previously, but he played at Miami. So, he's a Miami Hurricane through and through. And, what they did with Manny Diaz, I didn't necessarily love it. Seemed like they were, flirting with Mario Cristobal at the club while they still were trying to text with Manny Diaz. I don't know how that really worked out, but they got their guy in Cristobal, and, you saw what he did at Oregon. And I was actually surprised that, now, clearly Cristobal, is a former Hurricane as mentioned, but I just thought Oregon maybe had a little more cachet and was able to keep a coach like that, over Miami and Florida, especially when you compare what they've done, recent history. Oregon has been a much better program, but again, I guess when, you're part of that Miami mafia, that is the Hurricane program, it's hard not to come back when they call you. So I'm really intrigued by that one. To me, he's going to get things turned around there. If he doesn't get things turned around there, I would be highly surprised. And I feel like, I don't know what it would take for them, to get back to the Miami of old. So I think he can actually get that done. And I think it's a really, really, really good hire for Miami. And I think instantly he gives them credibility.
Well, you know what? Here's another thing about that too. He's a master recruiter. That's the one thing that they love about Mario Cristobal. But here's another thing that I was just reading about is, they were talking about how awful the facilities are at Miami. And they were now, just even with this hire, they're already talking about building an on-campus stadium and, sinking all this money into, look, there's a ton of things to do in Miami. So the Canes, since they've kind of fallen off, they're not the hottest ticket in town. But I think that, kind of maybe bringing this around with Mario and hoping what they could do, he's pretty much said, I'm going to lock down South Florida. And there's a lot of schools in SEC country that go into South Florida and take kids left and right. And he says, no more. They're coming to the U. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out, because there's so much talent down there. And it's just such a hotbed in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami, area down there that if he can build a wall around that,
that's the thing.
That talent there.
That's it.
Yep. But this day and age, who knows? Deion Sanders just landed the top corner to Jackson State. So NIL money, talks. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's a totally different ball game when it comes to recruiting. And I don't know if you call it an advantage. To me personally, it is an advantage, but Miami plays in the ACC, and besides Clemson,
Yes,
there is no other power. Year to year, you got 8 to 9 teams fighting for the second spot. In theory. So Miami is a team that a lot of people expected for them to be able to, rival Clemson in that conference. It hasn't happened yet. But if it happens, with Mario Cristobal, it wouldn't surprise me because the opportunity is there. If Miami was in SEC, or even they were in, I know it's far-fetched, it would never happen, but if they're in the Big Ten, that's tough because you already have staple teams that are, they are obviously going to be the cream of the crop every year in those conferences. But when you talk about ACC, it's Clemson and everybody else. So Miami has an opportunity to make some things shake, make some things happen. So I'm really interested in seeing what he does down there, and I think he's going to recruit like crazy. And if he can, like you said, keep some of those South Florida recruits, keep them at home, that it's a lot to ask because a lot of places all over the country recruit, Florida and South Florida specifically. But if he can keep a couple of the key guys there, more power to him. And I think he can really get things done there. Enough of the coaches there. I'm actually, Kalen DeBauer, whose name I keep screwing up, him at Washington. Yeah, that's going to be a really good one too. I like that a lot. But a lot of coaching moves, this is a coaching carousel that is college football. Just like they recruit and you got the transfer portal, the coaches bounce around too. This is their season when it comes to finding new jobs, whether they are the head coach or assistant coaches. I want to do college football awards for the Coach T College Football Show, but I don't want to do it necessarily just yet on the show, Mook. I think we announce those. We talk about them next week. I think you and I talk about them a little bit, but I just want to announce those. But out of those awards, do you have just one of those awards that you want to highlight? We're going to do a quarterback of the year, skill player group of the year, running backs, receivers, tight ends, offensive line of the year, defensive line of the year. We're talking the full units there. Defense, a full unit of a defense of the year, coach of the year, and then I have one here I thought was interesting, conference of the year. Any of those stick out to you? Any of those you want to highlight, which we will release through social media over the next few days?
Yeah, I actually spent a little time digging around on the defensive line and offensive line ones because I'm just kind of interested to see statistically how some of these teams, and
I knew you would like that.
It was kind of neat to dig into that a little bit and look at that and I don't think numbers say everything because obviously your schedule is part of it too, but just seeing how dominant some of these units were that possibly I didn't realize, how good, at least on the numbers side of things, they were. And I'm not saying this might be my defensive line of the year because, automatically I think, Georgia's the best defense, isn't that? Nobody's more dominant on defensive line than Wisconsin this year. So, and you look into that a little bit. I mean, almost a half a yard less per play, given up, and it was definitely eye opening looking at some of that and what your considerations are on on the offensive line. What kind of offense did that team run? Were they a passing team? Did they run the ball? Did they have good balance? Does that are they right there with the running back units or the quarterback units? So when I started getting into the line play, it was pretty neat to kind of dig into those stats a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of had similar thoughts, especially in the offensive line unit of the year because, as you're mentioning, what do you weigh more? Do you weigh the fact that they're keeping the quarterback clean? Not a lot of sacks or pressures. Are you tying it into how they ran the ball, the rushing game and their running backs? That makes me think of a team like Michigan, right? I mean, they had multiple backs. Boom. They that are really good there. And then, I even look at the skill player group of the year, running back, receivers, tight ends. Like,
Sure.
there are a couple of teams where they just throw guys at you.
Yeah.
Oklahoma was one of those teams that, I initially looked at, at least early in the year. But then, Alabama was one of those teams where, you talk about Mechie, and, my guy, Jameson Williams, and then their tight end, his name is slipping me. I think where's number Billingsley, and then they're, running back, number 4. Gosh, why am I forgetting these guys' names? But I mean, that unit right there with that running back, tight end, and those 2 receivers, you talk about a unit. Quarterback of the year will probably be their quarterback. Bryce Young, but Kenny Pickett. He doesn't have that type of talent at Pittsburgh.
Right.
I mean, he's a guy that I look at. I mean, he's a quarterback of the year potentially.
Sure.
And then conference of the year, one that we wanted to throw in there. I think this is really cool because you kind of get a collection of teams. Every year in and year out, people say the SEC is the cream of the crop, which I really can't argue.
Right.
But a conference. I mean, there's small conferences that really showed out and really did a lot of good things. But if you're talking about Power 5 conferences, Big Ten is right up there. I know we're in Big Ten country, but even the ACC, with what Wake Forest did, with the fact that you just have certain conferences, certain teams that really surprised you. If I had to lean on one conference, it'd probably be the Big Ten. The fact that you do have Michigan, the first time in a long time, maybe ever, been in the college football playoffs. You talk about Wisconsin, their turnaround. You talk about the big wins that Purdue had. Ohio State didn't finish the year how they probably thought they would, but Ohio State is still Ohio State. It was just really good to see a lot of these teams in these conferences, really represent their conferences as a whole, in a positive light. So I can't wait to release that. Fans, you guys should be excited for that. And Mook, I'm really intrigued to see what you have, who you have for these awards once it's finally all said and done.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. I'm just kind of piggybacking with you on the conferences. I mean, obviously you can always debate Big Ten, SEC, but I think this year more than ever, I had a lot more enjoyment because of this podcast watching some of the smaller ones. I watched more Sun Belt football this year than I ever have in my life.
Yes.
And I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It was fun football. And I'm telling people out there who only dial themselves into the big game or whatever. Watch a Western Kentucky. Watch some Conference USA. Watch the Roadrunners. There's some teams out there that, like, if you enjoy football, you're gonna love watching them, and it's fun, and it's what we love about college football.
Yeah. And all right, something that we also love about college football, and probably the biggest thing about college football this time of year, are the college football playoffs. Now, fans out there, we will eventually, as this goes on, because bowl season is it's a long season, so we will not dig very deep into the college football matchups, the matchups between Georgia and Michigan and Alabama and Cincinnati. But I initially wanted to just touch on these games and find out between these two games during this week only. All right, because we're not going to dig too deep into them, Mook, but what are the most intriguing matchups or storylines of each game? So let's begin with number 3 versus number 2. Georgia, number 3, who are actually 7.5 point favorites against Michigan, who's the number 2 team in the college football rankings. I'm going to ask you, Mook, what is the most intriguing matchup or storyline in this game for you?
Well, I think especially when you get a group of teams that are all very talented like this, that you really start getting the stylistic matchups. I mean, the old styles make fights thing. It's going to be interesting. In my eyes, a top 2-3 offensive line take on a top 2-3 defensive line and see what happens. The running game from Michigan, will it work against Georgia. This is where in some ways that I feel like if I'm a Michigan fan, I feel like I match up a lot better with Alabama, actually. Like, I think, just even though Alabama put it on Georgia, I just feel like as far as how the teams are built, that Alabama's a better matchup for Michigan than Georgia is, just because of their strength versus Michigan's strength. So we're going to see a battle of will on that line, and I'm not sure what I want to say with this one first blush. I mean, the pick seems right, the point spread, but I don't know, man. Michigan wasn't supposed to beat Ohio State, and they put it on them. And there's not many teams more talented offensively than Ohio State. So
yeah, and again, fans, we're not going to pick the number. We're not going to even pick the game right now, because we will eventually get into a deep dive with these games. Mook, what I'm most intrigued by, the storyline I'm looking at for this game will be, surprisingly enough, it's the quarterback play, right? Yeah. And for me, Stetson Bennett, right, the quarterback for Georgia. For Georgia, they are, if I'm looking at this correctly, their passing offense, they're 84th in the country. And Michigan, their passing defense, they're 57th in the country. So, you surprisingly have maybe not a great passing defense, but you also don't have a great passing offense for Georgia. So with Michigan, potentially having to, rely on the pass themselves, because maybe they're not able to run the ball as well against, that vaunted Georgia defense. What will Georgia ask their quarterback to do? That's a question I have. They're going to ask him just simply turn around and hand the ball off 30, 40 times this game, because they're going to try to slow the game down and just turn it, just muck it up, turn it into a dirty, nasty, old school game. Or if, push comes to shove and, Michigan is playing how it seems like maybe you think they can play, and definitely how I think they can play, and they keep it close in this matchup, now you're going to need that quarterback to make a play. And, Michigan's defense, especially against Ohio State, their pass defense looked really good in that second half. And Georgia not having a great pass offense, if it comes down to their quarterback having to make a play, that's something that I'm intrigued by. And I think Michigan may have a slight edge there, being able to slow down their pass game, maybe make Georgia a little bit of one-dimensional, in this theoretic late game that I'm thinking of, where it's going to be close. But that's what I'm looking at, because the obvious storyline is Georgia's defense against Michigan's offense, and specifically Michigan's run game. But at the end of the day, college football mainly, and football in general, to win big games, you need to win the turnover battle, and you need to limit big plays on defense, and you need to be able to make big plays on offense. And if Georgia is asking a quarterback to make big plays against Michigan's pass defense, I kind of like Michigan's pass defense in that matchup, in that scenario. So that's something I'm looking at there. Number 1 versus number 4, Alabama versus Cincinnati. What is the most intriguing matchup or storyline that you have for this game?
I think it's just a matter of, what's Alabama's going to show up, and it can Cincinnati weather a storm? Can they? I think that they've shown resiliency all year. Sometimes they went through a little stretch where they didn't look great, but they do have a quality win over, Notre Dame. But can they weather the storm when things kind of hit the fan, and Alabama starts looking like they're about to roll? Can they keep their poise, and can they keep playing for the next down and the next down and the next down? So that's what's going to get interesting, I think, in this one. Obviously, I think we can both look at it talent-wise. It's not Cincinnati only. Another 129 other teams are less talented than Alabama. But how can they make up for those deficiencies that they might have in this game? And I think that's where we're going to see it. I think Luke Fickell has for 2 years now shown us that he's a quality coach, and that he's going to have the kids ready to play. Alabama's a different animal, though, so we'll see. That's where I want to kind of just see which Alabama shows up and how can Cincinnati weather the storms that they are going to face in this game?
Yes, they would definitely get a storm. They most certainly will get a storm. But I'm not counting Cincinnati out by any means. And with that, something that I'm looking at, because I'm trying to dig deep into the stats with both of these games, because there's so much time in between, now and when the game is actually played. I will say, fans out there, this is going to be it goes without saying, a very high scoring game. Like, this is going to be played at AT&T Stadium in Texas, indoors, like fast track, like, and with that being said, like, Alabama clearly is an ultra talented team, and they have, the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, and they got special athletes on the outside. So I know they're very explosive, and they've been very explosive all year, especially in the not only in the run game, but also in the pass game. And similar to the last matchup, for me here, Cincinnati against the pass. Now, they don't play teams like Alabama week to week, but you only play who you play. And they are 16th in the country when it comes to stopping the pass. So you talk about the number 12 passing offense in the nation, which is Alabama, against the number 16 pass defense in Cincinnati. I mean, iron versus iron right there. And to me, similar to the last matchup, if Cincinnati has any shot, any chance, to pull off a miraculous upset, their defense is going to have to step up, and maybe not for all 4 quarters, because that's just something that you can't anticipate, you can't ask them to do. But when it's most necessary, can they be opportunists? Can they be a team that maybe gets a turnover too early in the game that maybe changes or sways the game early, or can they be a team that gets a stop or two, 3rd, 4th down late in the game, when they most need it, to give their offense a chance to, maybe have a game-winning drive or maybe a comeback, type of drive. So that's what I'm looking at. Cincinnati's pass defense is very, very, very underrated. Their corner just won the Jim Thorpe Award, as the best corner in the nation. And that was actually the corner going into the year. He was the second corner. Sauce Gardner was actually their number 1 corner. He's on the other side of them. So they have 2 NFL cornerbacks playing in their defense. Yeah. So we talk about matchups and, inside the matchup and inside the numbers. Cincinnati, in theory, has a defense and a pass defense that on paper, can match up with Alabama, or at least be able to, in their eyes, slow them down and limit their big playability. So I'm looking at that, and I'm intrigued by that storyline.
Yeah, definitely. And Cincinnati, playing Georgia last year, I think kind of helps. At least they've been in a big game like this before. So, it should be interesting.
Should be interesting. Fans out there as well, if you're thinking about the New Year's 6 games, we will hit on those games. Those will be in a later episode, so don't worry, we will dive deep into those games. But speaking of the games, let's do our first ever, Mook. Our first ever pick the winner for the bowl games. So we'll begin with the first bowl game of bowl season. We are blessed with this wonderful present that is the Bahama Bowls. We have Middle Tennessee State facing Toledo. Shout out to Toledo. Shout out to Coach Larry Black, my former college teammate who was a defensive line coach there. So you guys know who I'm rolling with here. This game is a 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff. It is played clearly in the Bahamas, the Thomas Robinson Stadium. Middle Tennessee, they are 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games, and they also are 4-2 straight up in those 6 games. In Toledo, in their last 5 games, they're 4-1 against the spread and 4-1 straight up. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Toledo is supposed to be one of the better teams in the MAC coming into the season, and a lot of people thought they were going to win the MAC. I think offensively they are very explosive, and I don't know a ton about Middle Tennessee State, but I know that they are not going to be able to keep up with Toledo, so give me the Rockets in this one.
Yes, I'm joining forces with you. We're already on the same side. You guys know, I just told you why. You know, former college teammate here is a coach here. I would be wrong if I don't take Toledo in this matchup. And the boys in the desert, you know, feel like they can win by a score and a half, you know, by double digits. So I don't know too much about Middle Tennessee State, but I have seen Toledo a couple times this year. And, you know, you talk about conferences, Mook. The MAC, I mean, the MAC has had a lot. They had a really good year this year. A really good year. And there's some tough teams in the MAC. Toledo played some really tough teams all year. So I love the fact that they are battle tested. They had an out-of-conference game against Notre Dame, which, you know, they kept a lot closer than what some people thought they would there. So I clearly like Toledo, and I have them winning this matchup. And I think it'll be a really good kickoff to the bowl season here. All right, next one, which will also be on Friday, tomorrow, that will be Northern Illinois, another MAC team playing Coastal Carolina. This is a cool little matchup. This is why bowl season is great. Coastal, they are 10.5-point favorites. 63.5 is the over-under. This will be played in Orlando, Florida. NIU in their last 6 games, at home. They're not playing at home, but there's 5-1 straight up. And in their last 10 games, the Huskies are 8-2 straight up. So that's a little more that pertains to this game a little bit more. Coastal Carolina in their last 10 games on the road, since this is a neutral site, they are 9-1 straight up, and the total has gone under in 5 of Coastal's last 5 games on the road. Hicks, my NFL guy. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Yeah, you know what? Northern Illinois, they were not projected. Where Toledo was projected to have a great year, Northern Illinois was not, and all they did was win the MAC. Right, so you can't count the Huskies out of any game. Coastal Carolina, on the other side, they were projected to be, and they were all year, very, very good. Save for one loss. I can't remember now.
App State.
App State, right? Mm-hmm. So an Appalachian State team that got him, which we saw how tough they were. Mm-hmm. This is a good game. You can't count out Northern Illinois. I think just because of the fact that I've watched Coastal a lot more, it feels like this year, and see how explosive they can be offensively. I think this is going to be a shootout kind of game, but I just think there's too much power in the Coastal Carolina offense. So I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina in this one.
Yes, and you mentioned this. NIU was a team that, a lot of people didn't expect much, to begin the year. Bottom dwellers, of the MAC. And I think we previewed their game maybe a couple of weeks ago, that MAC championship game. They didn't win a MAC championship for like 30, 40 years or something like that. Like something crazy. Yeah. And they've kind of had that Cinderella under the radar, but Cinderella season. I think that continues. I always have. We know every bowl season we have vivid memories. You probably have a couple. I know I have a couple of some random team, that Vegas thought, was huge underdogs, and to me, 10.5 points. I mean, it's a pretty big underdog. Playing against a name team like Coastal Carolina. Any college football fan would tell you Coastal Carolina, last year or two. I mean, they've been that team that has had some name recognition, and they're thinking, who is Northern Illinois? To me, that's why I like Northern Illinois. I think they will be counted out in this game. Coastal does not have Grayson McCall. Their all-star quarterback. He's been out for the last month or so. Mm-hmm. They will not have him in this game. And NIU, after such a great year, they signed their coach and their coaching staff to an extension. So they are going to have a couple of weeks of practice, and now they're going to be able to play down in sunny Orlando, Florida. I have shades and I have visions of NIU running around the field after this game with helmets off, celebrating together in a quote-unquote upset. So I'm going to go with the Huskies and NIU, and I really like them to win this matchup. All right, speaking of App State, that is our next game, and against Western Kentucky. This will be an incredible game, Mook. App State, they are 3.5-point favorites. 67.5 is the over-under. This game will also be played in Florida. This will be the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. Clearly, it's played in Boca Raton, Florida. In their last 8 games, Western Kentucky, they have won 7 of them. And in their last 6 games, they are 5-1 against the spread. App State, in their last 7 games, they have won 6 of those games, and the totals have gone under in 4 of App State's last 5 games overall. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is a really fun game. I think this is one of the better matchups of the whole bowl season. Man, I don't even know where to start with this one. Appalachian State, over and over this year, has shown their resiliency in games where maybe they weren't picked to win it, and they found a way to win it. And they came up a little short against Louisiana, but it was a heck of a game. Bailey Zappi, man, that guy can just sling it around the yard like nobody's business. The breakneck speed that Western Kentucky plays at makes me kind of lean their way in this one, but it feels like every time I lean against Appalachian State that it bites me. But I'm gonna stick with the fun and gun Hilltoppers football in this one. So give me Western Kentucky.
Yeah, you know what? To me, Bailey Zappi, this will be, he's going to be one of those guys you look up. This is going to be his last hurrah in college football. I don't know what he does at the next level, if he even does it. I think he'll end up being, a college football coach in 10 years. You know what I mean? And we'll say,
right.
Hey, we remember Bailey Zappi when he, played at Western Kentucky. Probably still be running the same offense at whatever school he's going to be coaching at in 10 years. App State is one of those teams where they've been here before, and they are a program that, they're App State. They have made a name for themselves in Western Kentucky. Although recently they've had some pretty good history of the last 3 or 4 years. App State has been doing this now for 10, 15 years in terms of being a consistent winner, being a consistent program, and the fact that App State, although this will not be not be at home for them, this will be in Florida. I think they can play some really good defense when they need to. I really do like Western Kentucky. Like, I want to pick them. I really do, Mook. I really do. But the fact that I can just count on App State because they've been here before, they've been in this situation before, and they can play defense when they need to. And they were able to slow down Coastal Carolina, as we mentioned. And Coastal Carolina's offense probably one of the tougher offenses to prepare for and to actually stop. And I think App State will be up to the test for this game. So reluctantly, although I really just want to see a really good game, reluctantly I'm going to take App State because I think App State wins this matchup. Next one, I don't have any trends here, but we have the Cricket Celebration Bowl. We have South Carolina State facing Jackson State. Jackson State, they are 10-point favorites in this matchup. This game will be played at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Falcons play. Deion's old home when he used to play for Dan Reeves. Was it Dan Reeves for the Falcons?
Yeah, but I think in those, I don't know.
It was a shorter Reeves. It was. I'm thinking,
in the Super Bowl years? Was it Reeves? I'm trying to remember.
I think so.
After Glanville.
Yes, that's what Jerry Glanville.
Yeah,
after Glanville.
Sure. Yeah, it was after Glanville. If it was Reeves or not, I can't remember.
We're showing our football age here, man.
Yeah, right.
We could talk quickly about this one. No trends here. I like Jackson State. That's only off of name recognition, but Mook, pick the winner.
Yeah, man. Come on, prime time, man.
Prime time. Like I said,
Prime time he just stole the top corner in the country away from his alma mater. He just took him from Florida State. Yeah. It's crazy. Yes, Deion Sanders, they win. They win this game. They can't even play in the FCS playoffs. They just got themselves a bowl. for no
Yeah,
reason.
that's what I was trying to figure out. That's what I was trying to figure out. Aren't they in the FCS? Why are they not in the playoffs?
No, because he works for Barstool. Barstool got him a player and a bowl game, man. You gotta love it.
Wow, look at that. Look at that. All hail Barstool. Look at that. Yeah, I'm going Jackson State here. I mean, they're 11-1 on the year for a reason. 10-point favorites here for a reason. And they are talented. And I think they will show, what all the hype is about. Why that young man picked Jackson State. So give me the Tigers, the JSU Tigers.
Yep.
All right, in the, I don't know how to say this. It's the PUBG. That doesn't even seem like it'd be a word. The PUBG mobile.
PUBG?
PUBG. There you go. PUBG mobile or mobile. I would go PUBG mobile. New Mexico Bowl. This is played in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You have Fresno State, who are 11-point favorites here, versus UTEP. 51.5 is the over-under. UTEP, they are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games against Fresno State. Fresno, in their last 6 games, they have won 5 of them. The total has gone over in 4 of UTEP's last 5 games. However, the total has gone under in 5 of Fresno State's last 7 games. Mook, let's pick the winner.
I could be wrong on this. I'm not positive, but is the Fresno State quarterback in the transfer portal? Is he gone?
I didn't see that.
For some reason, I feel
Let me
like
find it.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like he's in the portal. And probably likely going to Washington. But I'm not 100% on that. Look, Fresno State's been a great story all year. They've been a good football team. I loved everything that they've done this year. They've had a great balance offensively between the run and the pass. And UTEP's been a very good team. They catching them against UTSA, was a good ball game. The quarterback situation, if I'm wrong, then I definitely feel like Fresno State wins this game going away.
You want some info on that?
Yeah, give me some info.
Here's the headline. Fresno State's quarterback Jake Haener apologizes for entering transfer portal. Will return to program.
So what had happened was
what happened was right. So while players enter the transfer portal after coaching change is nothing new, what Jake Haener would seem to do is a rarity. Haener entered the portal on November 30th, the day after Coach DeBauer left the Bulldogs, become the Washington coach, blah, 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 only to withdraw from the portal and then apologize for the move Thursday. On Twitter, he apologized. So, will he be playing? I can figure that out. But he is returning back to the program to play for Jeff Tedford, who will be their new head coach.
That makes sense. Tedford's a good quarterback guy. So, I mean, he might have seen, that he still had maybe an NFL future with Tedford there, and not, what. Let's put it this way: I like Fresno State either way. If he plays, I like.
He is playing. This article says he's playing.
Give me Fresno State representing the Valley, the Green V, in that horrible name bowl that they're playing in. Give me Fresno State.
Oh, okay. Oh, that is hilarious, man. Hey, he's a kid, Kids change their minds. UTEP, wasn't UTEP the team that knocked off our Cinderella, the UTSA?
Yeah, I think they did get the Roadrunners. I think that was the loss the Roadrunners got.
All right, man. Just for that, man, Fresno State beat UTEP. I don't like UTEP, man. UTEP knocked off our boys, man. Fresno State, you can get it done. The Green V, you are right. Shout out to the Carr brothers. Shout out to Devontae Adams. Who else has come from Fresno State, man? I used to stay up a lot of nights, when I was a young kid, staying up watching those games, man. They've had a bunch of guys. Trent Dilfer, I think, went there. Yes.
Is Dilfer a Fresno State quarterback?
Let me look that up. I think you're right.
Dilfer. They had a wide receiver.
Fresno. He did. Trent
Dilfer. They had a
Dilfer.
wide receiver. One in the league.
Devontae Adams is probably the best. Lorenzo Neal. You remember him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Logan Mankins. Offensive lineman. Let me see who else.
More.
They've had. I don't know these other guys. They've had some guys overall.
Yeah.
Tony Brooks, Reggie Brown, DB.
Yeah.
James Burden, David Carr, Derek Carr, Chris. No, that's not wrong. Chris Carter. Malcolm Floyd.
Yeah, maybe Malcolm Floyd is what I was thinking.
Malcolm Floyd.
I knew they had another wide receiver that was good.
So they've always put some guys out. So there are a couple other guys, but yeah, I'm going with Fresno as well because I don't like UTEP because they beat our team. So I'm going Fresno, and it's just a funny story that Jake Hayner, had one foot out the door. And then realize, hey, I mean, maybe I do like Coach Ted for I kind of see his pedigree and what he's done. So let me give him a shot. So that's really cool.
Yep.
It happens. So, all right. So we're both going Fresno there. In the next game, this will be the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. This will be played in Shreveport, Louisiana. You have UAB facing number 13 BYU. BYU, they are 7-point favorites here. 55 is the over-under. UAB in their last 7 games, they are 6-1 against the spread. BYU in their last 5 games, they have won all 5. And the total has gone over in 4 of BYU's last 6 games, as well as in UAB's last 5 games. The total has gone over in 4 of them. Mook, let's pick the winner.
So UAB, they can put some points up. They can get after it. But here's the bottom line. I could go talk all about BYU, but the bottom line is this: that every single time that I think, whether it be Virginia or whoever else, that they can outscore BYU because that's not the team they are, then BYU becomes that team for that game. So bottom line, give me BYU in this game, and just because they always do it this year, these last couple years, really. Yeah. So that's who they are.
Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of points will be scored here, so I don't think 55 is enough. I think it goes over there. And in terms of that, also makes you think, and this is the thing about bowl season in general, who's going to be out, right? Does everyone play? I think BYU is one of those teams where everyone's going to play. You got those older student athletes. Yeah, exactly. And then they only got so much football left. I mean, I don't know how many of those guys are playing professional football. So with that being said, I mean, I think they're taking every opportunity they can to play and play together and play for the brotherhood. So I really like BYU here. It's kind of surprising that they're only 7-point favorites, but again, it's a neutral site. You know, both these teams have to travel a while, and BYU is coming in from out west, traveling to where UAB is, into their region, which is the southeast. But BYU, I see them winning. I see a lot of their fans traveling too for this game as well. And BYU is just one of those teams, man. They've been super consistent all year. I mean, they're number 13 for a reason, and they just, they can just, honestly, they can do it all. They can run the ball, they can throw the ball, they can defend the pass, they can defend the run, and they just are. If you watch them play, and fans, please check this out and please get a chance to watch them play. I mean, they are an impressive team. So, me, like you, I really like the Cougars, and I'm going with BYU to win this matchup. And I think 55, like I said, the over-under, I think it goes over that number.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, next one, we have Liberty. This is the Lending Tree Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. We have Liberty Flames, right? The Liberty Flames. They are 9.5-point favorites against Eastern Michigan. 58.5 is the over/under. No trends here, or at least I didn't write them down. So, Mook, let's pick the winner.
Eastern Michigan, not a bad MAC team. They're pretty good, actually. I think they were one of the preseason picks to have a good year. Liberty's played the better schedule. Liberty is a better quarterback. Give me Liberty.
Yes, Liberty does have the better quarterback, a potential first-round draft pick with their quarterback there. I don't know, man. Seems kind of weird that Liberty's only 9.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I thought they'd be a bigger one, too, when I saw that.
And again, we talk about, not knowing where who's going to play where. I mean, does that quarterback even play? I don't know.
Right.
And in terms of the MAC, Eastern Michigan, they went 4-4 in the conference, and they are 7-5 record overall. They finished 5th in the MAC West, so not great. Now looking at it, man, I mean, that makes me do want to take liberty, even though I think this number's a little bit fishy. But when we talk about winning the game, especially if they have their quarterback, whose name is slipping me right now, but he's a phenomenal quarterback for Liberty. They have played teams like Ole Miss this year, so Liberty has played not a great schedule, but they've had a couple teams where they've been able to face some really stiff competition. So I think them going up against Eastern Michigan, who in their side of in their division in the MAC, I mean, they were 4th, so not a great team. So I'm going with Liberty. I'm going with Liberty to cover this number. I'm going with Liberty clearly to win this game and finish off their season. And then if that quarterback is playing, this would be a nice little bow on his career to finish with the win. All right, this is a good bowl name. Next, we have in Inglewood, California, at the SoFi Stadium where the Rams and the Chargers play, we have the LA Bowl. And Mook, I want you to guess, I don't know if you call it a sponsor or what. Who is the sponsor for this LA Bowl? Just take a wild guess. It's in LA, so you think movie stars, you think film, you think TV. LA Bowl. Just pick a wild guess. You're not going to get it right, but just make a pick.
Who would be the LA Bowl? I'm thinking maybe a movie studio or something.
Think TV.
In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out Burger. Okay, that's not a bad choice. This is the Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, I saw
LA
that.
Bowl.
Yes, I did see that. I was like, how about Jimmy Kimmel get a bowl? Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. I love that. I love that so much.
Hilarious.
Oh, this is my favorite bowl already, man. So the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, where you have the Oregon State Beavers, who are 7-point favorites, facing the Utah State Aggies. 67 is the over-under. Utah State, in their last 8 games, they've won 7 of them. In their last 7 games, they've covered the number 6 of those games. And the total has gone over in 4 of Oregon State's last 6 games overall. Mook, in the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, let's pick the winner.
Utah State's a sneaky good team. They got me a little bit earlier on in the year where I didn't give them much credit, and kind of watching them, they are a really good football team. Oregon State's had a good year. They really have they haven't really had to put consistent years together in a long time. And I don't know. I think just getting in a bowl game and getting after it with the talent that they do have. I think the Beavers win this game and kind of maybe ride some momentum into next year. So give me Oregon State.
Yeah. So looking at this, stats on these teams, passing offense, Utah State has the advantage. They're the 24th passing offense in the nation. Rushing wise, Oregon State, they are 21st in the nation. So, I mean, these teams are literally polar opposites of one another.
Right.
So, I really like that. I like the contrast in this matchup. Points per game, they're both top 35 in points per game, so they can score there. And then defensively, I mean, they're very close. Passing yards allowed, they're about the same, and then rushing yards allowed, they're about the same, and then points per game, they're both 25 a game. So these teams are very close. So with that being said, I'm going to take Utah State to stay within that 7-point number. In terms of winning the game, I mean, why can't Utah State win the game? They can stay within the number. So just to go against you, and just to make the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, LA Bowl, a wonderful bowl, where both have opposite rooting interests, I'm going to go with the Aggies of Utah State, who, especially late in the year, I mean, they really showed out, and I picked them a couple times, and they proved me right. So I'm going with the Aggies. You're going with the Beavers. Let's see who win. At the end of the day, we all win because this is a Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. So
that's right.
Who can't root for that? All right. Next, in a bowl that we've heard for the last couple of years now, we have the RNL. I don't know if you say RNL or RL, but the RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. This is played in clearly New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome. You have number 23, Louisiana Lafayette. They are 5-point favorites playing Marshall. 55 is the over-under. If I'm not mistaken, Coach Billy Napier, he will be coaching in this game for Louisiana before he takes the Florida job. So a note there. Louisiana in the last 5 games, they won all 5. Marshall in the last 7 games, they've won 5 of those. And the total has gone under in 8 of Louisiana's last 10 games. And the total has gone under in Marshall's in the last 5 games. 4 of those have gone under. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Man, Billy Napier going to Florida, the guy, if he is coaching in this game, those guys are going to be, going, all out for him. Everything that I've seen is just nothing but gratitude from Louisiana Lafayette, which you don't see all the time, when a coach is leaving. But, they kind of want to see their guy go do something great at Florida, which is pretty awesome to me. Marshall's a good football team. I just think that the defense that is played by the Raging Cajuns is, to their advantage. They've only, other than the Texas game that opened the season, they haven't lost this year. They've had a couple close calls, but they've ran the table. I don't think Marshall has, with the emotional wave that might be going for the Raging Cajuns this one, and the fact that it's in New Orleans, I just don't think that Marshall's going to be ready for, what they're going to see from Louisiana Lafayette in this one, and I think they're going to, if he's there or not, they're going to play in the honor of their coach, and I like Louisiana Lafayette in this game.
Yes, so I'm reading on Twitter, my news source that Coach Napier will not be coaching this game. He said the conference title game was the last game that he would coach for Louisiana. So, and I think we both picked him for that reason, knowing that, that potentially could be his last game. And they showed out in that game, had a wonderful game. Marshall, on the other hand, they're in this game, they're in this matchup, but I think there is a clear difference between the talent level and the team, and the better team being Louisiana versus Marshall. Like, Marshall had a couple of games this year where they just blew some big leads, or they lost to some teams that they maybe shouldn't have lost to. And the fact that this is in Louisiana, right in the backyard for Lafayette, and the fact that Napier's not there, but I mean, they were taught well, and they understand that, hey, in the last 2 years they won a lot of football games, and I don't think Marshall's one of those teams that they fear at all. So I like Louisiana here. I like Louisiana to cover the number, and to me, they're going to try to go out in style. And in the last game Marshall played was against Western Kentucky, and they lost 53-21. So. Yeah, I don't love Marshall here, even though they've had a winning season, a winning record this year. Louisiana, to me, is in a totally different stratosphere than Marshall. So I like Louisiana to win this game and to cover that number of 5. All right, next one we have, I mean, just a couple more left. Let's try to get through these. This will be Monday, December 20th. We have the Myrtle Beach Bowl played in Conway, South Carolina. We have Old Dominion, who are 9.5-point favorites here against Tulsa. 52.5 is the over-under. Old Dominion, in their last 5 games, they are 5-0 against the spread, and they are 5-0 straight up in those 5 games. And in Tulsa, in their last 5 games, they are 4-1 against the spread, and the total has gone over in 8 of Tulsa's last 11 games. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Tulsa kind of gave us a tease against Ohio State earlier this year. Made you kind of think that Tulsa was a pretty good football team. They're not that talented, and this is not too far away from. This is very close to being a home game for Old Dominion. So give me the Monarchs in this one. It's just
Monarchs.
Yeah, they're close to home. They're a 9-point favorite for a reason. That's the best I got on this one.
Yeah, and if you remember correctly, I don't know if you remember this, in our best of weeks ago, maybe months ago, I picked Old Dominion for top 5 best of uniforms for that particular week, because they wore some nice all powder blue jerseys. I hope they wear those in this game. That will give you even more confidence in them. But with that being said, I mean, Old Dominion, they do struggle on offense. Passing wise, they're 131st. Rushing wise, they are 94th. Although they do score, they're 69th in the country, averaging 28 points per game. So seemingly they take advantage of their opportunities. Maybe they just play in at a slower pace. Defensively, neither of these teams are great. In terms of who actually has somewhat of a stellar stat on defense, it's ODU, and it's against the rushing game. They are 57th in the country. Now, who do they play against? I mean, not great, competition. And, for Tulsa, they are 60th in the country running the ball. So I think Tulsa is going to be trying to run the ball a good amount. But ODU, they're one of those teams that seemingly stats-wise, they can stop the run. So I actually have Tulsa keeping it within this number. Both of these teams are 6-6 on the year. Kind of those teams that just made a bowl game. I think both teams are happy to be here. And I think both teams will play tough. And the fact that, this is a Monday game, which is kind of a unique spot for both of these teams. It's hard for me to have ODU, especially not being a ultra dominant team. It's hard for me to say that they can win by, double digits. So I'm going to go with Tulsa to cover. And I'm actually going to go with Tulsa to win. Why not? Just to go opposite, because I definitely have them covering. And I definitely can see them winning this matchup. Because, to me, you take this number away, I'm just looking at these two teams. It's a toss-up. So give me Tulsa. All right, next on Tuesday, December 21st, and we have 5 more games. So we'll get through these quickly. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl played in Boise, Idaho. We have Kent State versus Wyoming. Wyoming, they are 3-point favorites here. 59 is the over-under. Wyoming, in their last 9 games, is not good. They are 3-6 against the spread. Kent State, in their last 6 games, they are 4-2 against the spread, and they are 4-2 straight up in those 6 games. The total has gone over in 4 of Wyoming's last 5 games. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Kent State gets a snap off in 17 seconds. Every 17 seconds they run a play.
Wow.
Yeah, and Wyoming on the other side of it slows everything down. So you have a contrast in styles here. I like Dustin Crum. I believe that's the quarterback's name, Kent State. He looks like a good player, and I really like their coach, Sean Lewis. He's a young guy, ton of fire, ton of energy. Really has turned Kent State around from being a laughingstock to a pretty decent football team. It's way out in Idaho, which is fairly close to Wyoming. If geography means anything in this one, then I would take Wyoming. But I think that just because of the offensive prowess that the Golden Flashes have, that I don't know that Wyoming can keep up with them. So give me Kent State in this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to join you here. I think that 3-point number, that's just something that's thrown out because they needed a number here. That just showed me they don't have much confidence in either team. And looking at the stats, because really that's all I can go off of. I want you to guess this. Did you guess that Kent State was top 10 rushing offense in the nation?
Wow.
They're number 9 in the nation. They're averaging 242 rushing yards a game, going against the 179th rushing defense that is Wyoming, who allow 168 rushing yards a game. So you talk about a distinct advantage. Kent State has a distinct advantage. They are the underdogs here. So give me the 3 points and give me Kent State to win this matchup. I'm going with the Golden Flashes as well. Speaking of jerseys and uniforms, I hope they actually wear those white plus powder blue plus gold or I guess yellow uniforms they wear, which they're not great. They're not that appealing. They're kind of ugly, to be honest, but because they're so ugly, they're kind of cool. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I just hope it doesn't clash too much on the Smurf turf. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's gonna be ugly. Yeah, that's gonna be a nasty, ugly. It's gonna be a weird game. I'm telling you. For
Wyoming's
those players,
brown, so you know.
Yeah, they're poop and piss, man. They're brown and yellow.
Man,
so
it is. That's what they are, man.
this is gonna be in terms of eye candy, this game will have none of that. It's gonna be a nasty, ugly game. Look,
if you got a black and white TV, it's perfect to watch.
If you're colorblind, this game is actually the one you want to check out.
This is your game.
This is your game. Yes, I'm gonna go with Kent State here. They have a distinct advantage in the running game, and I like them as an underdog here in the bowl game. So, cool. All right, 4 more games to go. We have UTSA. They are playing. They are 2.5-point favorites against number 24 San Diego State. 50.5 is the over/under. This is the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl, played in Frisco, Texas. UTSA in their last 13 games, which is the season, they've won. They're 12-1 on the year. The total has gone over in 5 of UTSA's last 6 games. San Diego State, this year they are 11-2, and the total has gone under in 6 of San Diego State's last 9 games. So UTSA, they like to score and play those high-scoring games. San Diego State, they are the complete opposite. Mook, let's pick the winner.
I came into this thinking I was going UTSA all the way on it, and the more I dug into it, the more I kind of leaned the other way. Look, it's real simple to me, this ball game. If UTSA can push the pace early, jump up, get a nice lead, they're going to win the football game. If they can't, I like San Diego State, and I think that the way that San Diego State runs the football and the way that they play great defense, I think that they're going to be able to get stops when they need them. And UTSA has been very leaky on the ground against a couple teams this year. So all that said, man, I didn't think I was going this way, but give me the Aztecs in this one.
Whoa. You went against the Cinderella? The Roadrunners?
I did, man.
All right, well, this will be played in Frisco, Texas. I don't know too much about the Toyota Stadium, but I think this is an indoor stadium, if I'm not mistaken, okay? So whether it is or not, it's a fast track to me, especially being played in Florida. I like UTSA and Florida. What am I talking about? Texas. And UTSA is University of Texas, San Antonio. So talk about proximity and geography. Texas team that doesn't have to leave Texas. And they are the 2.5-point favorites here. Now, would I be a fool to think that San Diego State doesn't have a chance here? Yeah, they clearly have a chance. I mean, they're a team that's number 24 in the country for a reason, and they had a sour finish to the year, but overall they've had a really good year. We've talked about them numerous times, but we also talk about this, Mook. San Diego State is number 24 in the country. UTSA, they are unranked, but however, UTSA, they are the favorite. So that tells me UTSA is going to win this game. And I like UTSA for the fact that, looking at the stats again, I mean, they are 12th in the country at almost 38 points a game. And you talk about being able to slow down the run. San Diego State, they're number 4 against the rush defense. But UTSA, they're number 32 in the country. So they're not terrible. And again, you talk about competition and who they play, but I think these teams play similar teams. So to me, this would be a really close matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if San Diego State wins this game. I wouldn't be surprised if any team wins large, to be honest. But I'm going to go with UTSA, the quote-unquote home team. The fact that they don't have to leave the state of Texas to play in this Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. So give me the Roadrunners in the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl to win this game. It's
ridiculous.
All right, Wednesday, my birthday. I just realized this. This is yes. I'm turning mid-30s, Mook. Man. This will be the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. At least it's the Armed Forces. All right, I can rock with that. This will be played in Fort Worth, Texas. Texas. We have Army, who are 3.5-point favorites here, playing against Missouri. 58 is the over/under. The total has gone over in 10 of Missouri's last 15 games. However, the total has gone under in, how is that possible? Oh, I guess the total has gone under in 4 of Missouri's last 6 games. It's kind of confusing. Army in their last 5 games, they are 4-1 straight up, and the total has gone under in 4 of Army's last 5 games. I know one game it didn't go under. It was that Army and Wake Forest.
Forest, yeah.
That was probably the one that didn't go under. That had to be the one.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, definitely.
Let's pick the winner, Mook.
What was the line on this? Who we got?
Army, they are 3.5 point favorites here, and 58 is the over-under.
See, this is strange to me too, because you would think, the guys in the desert with Army getting, upset by Navy, that would kind of, sway money the other way in a SEC, versus Army matchup. Navy's the worst team in the SEC against the run. Mizzou. They have improved, but they were the worst against the run all year long.
248th in the country is Missouri's defense, rush defense. That is bad. Wow.
Yeah, that's
230 a game they give up.
And we know what Army does well, right? So that's all Army does is run and run and run and run and then keep running. Missouri offensively, they're actually kind of more of a grindy team. They don't have a big vertical threat. They have the kind of intermediate passing game. I thought of them as like they'd be hitting the ball down, field to guys like the old Dorial Green Beckhams that they used to have, and they just brought in a top receiver this year. But that's not what they are this year. They're a short-range, mid-range passing team, which that helps Army as well too. So there's a lot of these things that kind of, I can see why Army is the favorite in this, and the fact that Army has played some of these big teams very close. Army hasn't beaten a Power 5 team since 2016, and that was, in fact, Wake Forest. So,
wow,
man, I want to go for the Black Knights. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think Missouri's a good football team. I just think that at some point, you just with the depth and the size and the speed, that in the end, in what I think will be kind of not a very appealing game, I'm going to take the Tigers and win this one.
Really, you're going with the Tigers? Wow. You think about it too. I mean, out of all these teams listed, Army is the I guess most game ready. You can look at it because they just played just last week, so they kind of stayed on schedule to what they're used to. These other teams have taken 2 or 3 weeks off. They've had some vacation time. But because I played in one bowl game, or my team did. I was actually injured that year at Indiana. You get a lot of practice time when it's bowl season, so it's kind of like a second camp. That helps a lot of teams. I think that can help a team like Missouri because they're able to correct some things. You get pretty much the longest break you'll ever have in the quote unquote middle of the season, because you have 2 or 3 weeks of practice time. But Army, it goes back to the old argument. Would you rather be rested or would you rather be, how do they say? Would you rather be rested or would you rather be, fine-tuned to play another game because you're kind of used to that same schedule? It's hard for me to go against Army in the Armed Forces Bowl.
Right.
And how many bowl games are in Texas? This is another bowl game in Texas. And then the second to last one we're going to do is actually in Texas. Actually at the Toyota Stadium, which is the next game we're going to talk about in Frisco, Texas. So a lot of Texas, man. They're big for a reason. They get a lot of bowl games. I guess football is important in Texas, if anyone didn't know that.
I heard that somewhere.
I heard that too. Missouri, you would think, is the bigger, stronger, faster team, right? The SEC team. Yeah. But the fact that Army can run the ball the way they do, and the fact that Missouri is, they are bad against the run. Bad is probably an understatement. They're absolutely terrible. They're awful. Yeah. They're terrible. But that stat that Army hasn't beaten, was it a Power 5 team or was it a Yeah,
Wake
Power
Forest
5 team. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough. This is very tough. And on my birthday, what would I want to go with on my birthday? Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna go with Army. I'm gonna go with the Armed Forces. I'm gonna go with with the black and gold, man. So give me the Army Knights. I don't feel too confident in it, but you know, again, if this is gonna be a game that's gonna be really ugly, you know, slow tempo game, you know, low scoring game, 58 is the over under. I don't think it touches that unless you know, Army kind of just running all over Missouri, which clearly could happen. It is definitely possible. But because it is possible, I'm going to go with Army to win this game. All right, second to last matchup. We talked about it. This is the Frisco Football Classic, played in Frisco, Texas, played at the Toyota Stadium. This is Miami of Ohio. They are 3-point favorites here, playing against North Texas. 54.5 is the over-under. North Texas, in their last 5 games, they are 5-0 straight up and 5-0 against the spread. Miami, in their last 6 games, they are 4-2 straight up, and the total has gone over in 4 of Miami's last 6 games overall. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Interesting tidbit I found about this game. They just invented this game because of the fact that they were the last 2 bowl eligible teams without a venue to play at. So wow, cool. This is a brand new game made especially for the for University of Miami, Ohio, and North Texas. North Texas, they run the ball like crazy. Miami of Ohio cannot stop the run. Miami of Ohio throws the ball like crazy. North Texas cannot stop the pass. So they're both 6-6. So this is what we got here again. So the game's in Texas, and North Texas runs for about 300 and some yards a game. That, to me, is, and the fact that they're the mean green. I mean, come on, you gotta mean green.
In their last game, Mook, they beat UTSA. They beat them 45-23.
They got the nice win over that. So they're clearly, you know, a little bit maybe more, I don't know, more battle tested. There's some pretty good teams in the MAC, but I think all those things said, even though they can't stop the pass, maybe they just keep control of the football and run over, you know, Miami in this one. So give me North Texas in this game.
Nope. Give me, I'm representing for the Midwest, Mook. I'm representing for the Midwest, man. The original Miami, not Miami of Florida. This is the original Miami of Ohio. The Miami, the original. They created this game, as you mentioned. I didn't know that. That was pretty cool to understand. Yeah. I like that for these young men. They get to play another game. They get to say they played in a bowl game, which is totally awesome. Stats wise, you hit it on the head. I mean, passing wise, Miami's great. Rushing wise, North Texas is amazing. They're about equal when it comes to points per game that they score. 29 for Miami and 28.6 for North Texas. And then defensively, let's talk about total defense. I mean, they're about similar, 157 versus 166. So I don't see a lot of defense being played in this game. No. I was kind of surprised that the over-under is only 54.5 because I don't think either team is going to be able to stop either team. Right. And you look at Miami's last game. Their last game, Mook, was against the aforementioned Kent State. And that score, they were almost 100 points scored in that game. It was 47-48 in final. It was a final in overtime, and Kent State won that game against Miami. But 47-48, like. And look, this is not a game where it went to like 8 overtimes. There was 1 overtime in this game.
Yeah. That over-under in this one makes me wonder.
It definitely makes me wonder. It makes me feel like it's going to go under, even though I say it's going to go over because it's way too low. But yeah, I'm going to represent for the Midwest. I'm going with the, what's Miami? Oh, Red Hawks. Red Hawks. Yeah, I'm going with the Red Hawks here. Who, by the way, you talk about 4, 5, 6 years ago. I mean, they were absolutely the worst team in college football. So to see them, you know, ascend to the point where they're able to make a bowl game like this is really cool. So, yeah, I'm representing for the Midwest. You can have Texas. You can have the South. You can have all the big, shiny stuff. Give me the old-fashioned, blue-collar Midwest. So, give me the Red Hawks here. Miami, the original Miami, to win this matchup.
Miami.
All right, our last one of the night. We have the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. Wow, these names are crazy. This is played at the Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, where the Buccaneers play. So that's kind of cool. You have who you never thought here would be in this game. You have Florida, who are 6.5-point favorites here against UCF, Central Florida. 55.5 is the over-under. This is the Battle of Florida right here, Mook. UCF, in their last 6 games, they have won 5 of them. And in their last 14 games, however, they are 4-10 against the spread. So it's not great. Florida, in their last 6 games, they only won 2 of them. So they're 2-4 in their last 6 games, and the total has gone under in 6 of Florida's last 9 games overall. So I see why Dan Mullins is no longer the head coach at Florida.
Yeah.
Yep. Mook, let's pick the winner.
Oh man, it's so hard to say with Florida with the coaching change what they're going to look like coming into this game. I kind of have a feeling because of the as much as Billy Napier's been around already, the team and the program, and I watched an interview with them talking about we're done having a football team here in Florida. We're going to have a program, and we're going to be physical, and we're going to be so he might have these kids jacked up to play. And UCF really hasn't been the same since Dylan Gabriel got hurt. They're
and he's going to be transferring.
Now he's going to be gone. He'll be with Lane Kiffin or with somebody else next, So, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see where that shakes out. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I think Florida's going to have a little momentum, a little juice from having, a new coach coming in. They have not played very good defense, and the one thing that UCF can do is play some offense. But I don't know defensively if UCF can stop them. I think this is a good feature game for UCF because here's the team. While the Big 12 may not have the shine it had with Oklahoma and Texas, them getting ready to move over into the Big 12, it'd be nothing like taking out Big Brother in this one, and within the state ranks. That I'd be afraid to, because I didn't realize this until recently. I always think of UCF as the little school in Florida. They're actually one of the biggest schools in the nation.
Yeah, I think they're the biggest.
UCF is monstrous.
School. They have like 55,000 students there.
Yeah, they're huge. So it's like
huge.
Well, man, they can get a lot of Jimmys and Joes in there, man. So let's see what happens here. But I think in this one with Florida, I guess Orlando's a little closer to Tampa than, I don't think that's going to matter. Just give me the Gators with a little extra juice from maybe having, the fiery Billy Napier hanging out, cheering them on. So,
yeah. They're trying to show what they have, especially the returning players like, hey, coach, I should be one of your guys going into next year. UCF, they're losing their quarterback was injured, last, second half of the year, and now he's transferring. Who's it? Gus Malzahn is their head coach.
Yeah.
That's a seasoned coach right there. That's, coach has seen a lot of scenarios, been in a lot of football games. So, is Napier going to coach this game? I would imagine
I don't think he's coaching. I just think he's been around the
exactly.
team.
And I was thinking the same thing, but it just made me wonder. I don't know why I wondered.
Yeah, a little maybe audition for coach,
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's an audition for sure. Yeah, to me, Florida, quote unquote, should win this game, but there's a reason why they, added a new coach, because the games they should have won, they haven't been able to win. To me, I feel like this is a recurring theme for me, but 55.5, that's not enough. Neither of these teams play defense.
No, not at all.
They don't play defense.
Yeah.
Like Florida played a lot of defense early in the year, and then they got exposed and they were never the same.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, UCF, you know what they do. I mean, UCF stands for we don't play defense. We just want to score offense. So, yeah. So you know what? I don't know. This is the I don't know bowl because I mean, you don't know. You got a new coach from Florida or coming in. You know, you got an interim guy, or at least for this bowl game, an interim coach, and you got Gus Malzahn who just lost his quarterback and transferred, and you know, what are they going to do there? And you know, UCF was up and down to finish the year, you know, and then Florida, they clearly were up and down. So this is truly the I don't know bowl, and it's going to be happening on a Thursday in an NFL stadium. I don't know, man. Who did you go with? Florida?
I took Florida.
Just randomly. It's all right.
Yeah, so there wasn't this big scientific reason for it.
No. And going into the stats, people, and I do want to wrap this up, but going into the stats, just so I can hit on this. Come on, here we go. Offense, I mean, 38 and 41 in the country these teams are in scoring. So 32 a game for UCF, 31.8 for Florida. And then defense, I mean, they're both not great. UCF is really not great, but Florida, 86 against the run, 86 against the pass, 135th against the run, and then points per game. Geez, they both let up 25 plus points a game. So I don't know. You're going Florida. I'm going to go UCF for no absolute reason, but just to have a different rooting interest in you. But there's no reason to pick any of these teams. And it's not a betting show, but I will tell you guys this: stay away from this game. Stay far away from this game. Stay far away from this.
The only thing I can say, I guess, for UCF is the fact that Gus Malzahn is one of the only humans that has 2 wins over Nick Saban. So, you know, so he can coach. So
he definitely can.
A game like this, he might have and some time to get ready for it. They might, you know, be able to show out a little bit better.
Yeah, not having to travel far, and you know, I would be surprised. You never know, especially with Gus Malzahn and the connection he has, or Florida. Wouldn't be surprised if these teams have practice in that stadium already. You know, they've kind of found their hotel. They've maybe been living there for the last week or so. I don't know. You know, I could see a coach doing something like that. So, I'm going UCF. You're going Florida. You know, may the best, or I guess may the most mediocre team win in this matchup. So, Mook, we're going to wrap it up from here. Fans, we'll have a lot more games to go through. You see, we touched on the college football Final Four. We will touch on the New Year's Six Bowl, those games as they approach, and then we'll dive deeper into the college football playoff matchups as we get closer to those. Mook, you have anything you want to say to the fans out there?
No, so it's almost over though. So just soak it up. Even these games that maybe you're not familiar with the teams, it's a good time to get familiar with them. You know. Sit back and crack one open and watch a mid-major, as it were, and you know, there's some pretty good football that's being played at all different conferences. So
yes, there is, and you'll see a lot of players, and you'll meet a lot of, you know, new teams, new coaches, just new people you can root for. So I think that's always cool during the bowl season. You'll see some crazy upsets too. You know, you're going to see that, and as we mentioned before, the Coach T College Football Show with Mook, we will have our awards, and we will send those out. We will get those out. And fans, I think you'll really enjoy that. So fans out there, keep showing us love, keep supporting us. We'll keep bringing you that funk. Peace.